Hi, I'm GeoDev, and in this video what we're going to do is have a quick look at our walker mesh and show you how to go about exporting the animations that we're going to need. Now all we're going to do is do 3 animations. This is your very basic setup, but first what we're going to do is have a quick look at the mesh. Now as you can see, if people have seen other of my videos, this mesh has actually at this moment in time got the damage mask texture applied to it. So long as the texture is applied, then that's fine. Okay, so what we're looking at, what you need to remember is that in the front view, let's get back to a normal pointer. I'm not very good with max 10 at the moment, but in the front view, with the x-axis pointing to the right, the vehicle is heading down to the right. Now if you're unsure about how I create a vehicle rig, watch a few of the other videos that I've put up on the web and you'll see how very easy it is and very simple. Okay, if you're using max 10, alright, well, before I go into this, one thing you will notice, now let me just rotate this again a little bit in the perspective view, you will find here, very unusual for me, is that this bone sat right in the middle. Right, it's called, I've named this walkie ground, okay, for a very good reason. This helps us set the actual height that the vehicle will sit at while it's not being used. Okay, you don't want it down on the ground level. There's reasons for that, trust me, because otherwise you're going to have even more headaches than what you're going to have in the first place. But anyway, right, the reason this is the actual root bone, and I'll show you if we go into the hierarchy view. Alright, if you're using max 10, I've just been having a look at this and wondering why people are having problems. You'll get a list like this. Just go on to display children, and you get that. Display again, expand all, and you get the normal layout that we're used to. So what we've got, so pretty much walkie ground, this is this bone here. Walkie base, that's the one in the middle of the body. And then obviously we've got weapon yaw, weapon pivot, that's here, weapon fire right at the front, well, yaw, pivot, fire, okay, and then upper leg, lower leg, foot, upper leg, lower leg, foot. And I've added 2 IK chains, very simple leg solvers, to help me animate these legs a little bit easier. Now I'm not a pro, as everybody knows, so we'll just keep it as simple as possible. Now that's your rig set up. Obviously we then go into the skinned into the mesh. Well, let's have a quick look. There you go, UVWs, all very simple. Overlaid because it's a skeletal mesh and I can get away with it. So you got the legs, the body, the gun, if that's what you want to call it, a few other bits and pieces lying around. Not very good, but hey, we're just testing. So on to skinning. Now if you've never skinned before, I do advise you to watch the Max tutorials, but very simple. Click, well, I say very simple. I don't really want to spend a lot of time running through this, but obviously you add your skin modifier, add your bones, edit your envelopes. Well, I don't use the envelopes, I prefer to use vertex mode, which is here, vertices. And if you go down here, you find a little spanner, the weight tool, and then you can select a load of vertices. Now for this model, well, this mesh, it's a lot easier if you have select elements, because I can click on a element, it will select all the vertices in that element of the leg, and click on the bone. Well, in this case it's already done there for you to see, but you click on the bone, click on full weight, and happy as Larry. Okay, that's the very simple setup. Okay, we don't get out of there, Geo. There we go. So we've got the basic pose, and we go over to Actor X, which I've already set up. Put in your output where you want in. Now I've set this up to go to the folder set that you're going to get, because I'm going to put all my videos, all my content in there with the texture file. Well, I might put the texture files in, see what the size is like, but you'll get the UPK, the code, this max file with everything else that I can fit in there easily. Now, mesh file name, SK, skeletal mesh, vehicle, walkie. Save the ref pose. Code no dummies, written. Now, for those that are not too sure and haven't watched my other videos, your Actor X setup I prefer using. This is what works for me. Persistent settings, persistent paths. So everything goes in the one place where I've gone set it up before. All skin typed, all textured, only selected. That means I select purely the mesh, none of the bones or anything else, and that's what gets exported. I don't need any log files, and just to be on the safe side, cull unused dummies. Okay, right. That's a very quick run through on the mesh. Now what do we need? Well, we need some anims. Now, as you can see, I've already got some anims set up. I am not going to bore you to death on how to make very simple anims like this. The main thing we're going to be looking at, because I haven't done it for any of my other vehicle videos, is actually exporting the anims. So what I'm going to do, just so you can see, this is where you really need to be taking notes of what you're doing. Yeah, is where you put your keyframes. Now, my keyframe for the walking forward anim starts at keyframe 10 and goes through to keyframe 50. Now, what we don't want is a little stutter or a stall while it's doing it. So what we'll do, alright, in Actor X, remember Actor X, go into Animation Exporter. We've put in the animation file name, which will be kvh walkie. Animation sequence name, we want for this, very simple, walk F, which is forward. Now tab down into the next one. Now, what range do we want? Well, we need it to start at keyframe 10 minus, well, it's not a minus, it's just there as a space. Now we don't want it to go to keyframe 50, because then you'll get that little sort of like pregnant pause between each step. So we'll go to 49, which is the one before, because that is the same position as that, and click on digest animation. Does that, click OK. Now here's me being lazy. The walk back animation will be from 49 to 10. Digest it again, go OK, OK. Now what I do suggest is you also put in a idle anim. If you watched the first video, you might have picked up there's an idle anim on the anim tree, and that's what we're going to do right now. And to do this, very simple, right click on the play button, which comes up the time configuration. We're going to extend the timeline to 200. click OK, and you can see the timeline goes to 200. Now I should have said I might have to redo this. Well, in fact, what we will redo this. Go into Animation Manager, select them, delete them. You might say, what's he doing this for? Now, you might have just noticed I had everything selected. You don't want to do that. Okay? Learn by my mistakes. So, start again. Walk F. No, come on. I hate using a laptop. Walk F. Walk forward in this site. Number 10 to 49. Making sure we have only the mesh selected. Do it again. Select away. Select the mesh only. Okay. Digest. Yep. Thank you. Alright, do that again. Walk backwards. Tab down to the next section. 49 minus 10. Well, 49 to frame 10. Digest animation. Yes. Yes. Now what we're going to do is have a idle animation, and all I'm going to do is go from 60 idle, put the name in, go from, oh, get it right, 60 to 200. Now you might think that's a bit long, but if you're wanting to have a little bit of movement in there, which I don't at this moment in time, but if you do, don't make the animation too short because it gets very, very jerky. So digest that animation, go yes, okay, thank you. Now what do we do now? You've got to go to the animation manager, select your 3 animations, move them across from animations to output package, and hit save. Now you'll find, where did it save it to? You can click on save as, but it saved it, let me just close this down, to wherever you put your skeletal mesh exporter to go to. Okay, and that's all it takes. Very simple, very I won't say short and sweet, but that'll keep you happy, keep you going, and that's all we need to do in Max at this stage. Now I'm not going to start doing damage morphs. I've covered that in other videos. This is purely the very basics to keep things short and simple as possible for doing the walker, because it's going to take time later. Okay, so I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye now. Come on.